He is ahead of me in the fields, poking about in the grass. By the time I reach him, the last of the newborn field mice are disappearing down his throat. His eyes roll upward to read my mood, praise, amusement, or disapproval. But I only touch his head casually and walk on. Let him make his own judgment. The mice construct thick cupped nests deep in the grass from which they travel along a multitude of tunneled paths, to the creek perhaps, or into the orchard to find a bruised apple or a leaf of mint or buckberries. Then they hurry home again to the peep and swirl of their nestlings. But these babes have been crunched on Ben's molars, have begun the descent through darkness and acids toward transformation. I hope they were well crunched. At home, Ben wolfs his food, as the saying goes. He barely lifts his face from the bowl, scarcely breathes until all is gone. He came to us, a lost dog down from the Blue Ridge, and certainly he had known trouble, and probably, at least for a while, hunger. He came with a split tongue, a wound mysterious and long-healed, made perhaps on a roughly opened can, or by another dog during trough feeding. It is one of the secrets we will never know. The rip is an inch long at the front of the tongue, not quite centered. Now the tongue brims forward on its final slide in two directions, or hangs to both sides of his right fang tooth, which stands above the mossy bulk of the tongue like a white bird on a pink sea. Other quirks and mannerisms, frights and anxieties, Ben brought with him and has kept. Mostly he wants reasonable things, quiet, security, both M and me within sight. He is frightened of lightning, brooms, kindling, backfire, and trucks generally. He loves fields, freedom, rabbit smell, rides in the car, lots of food. I think he can drink a gallon of water at a single stint. I think he could run for 8 hours without halt. Or he used to. Where's Ben? Down in the creek getting muddy. Where's Ben? Out in the field eating mice again. Where's Ben? Upstairs in his bedroom sleeping on his 4 pillows and his blue blanket. Of night and the dog, you cannot elaborate the dark thickness of it as he can. You cannot separate the rich, rank threads as they make their way through the grasses. Mouse, vole, mink, nails of the fox, then the thin stream of his urine, drops sticking to the grass blade's necklace of pale gold. And the rabbit, his paw smell, his juice, or a single strand of fur, or a bleat from a gland under the white tail, or a bead of excrement, black pearls dropped off here and there. I have seen Ben place his nose meticulously into the shallow dampness of a deer's hoofprint and shut his eyes as if listening. But it is smell he is listening to, the wild, high music of smell that we know so little about. Tonight, Ben charges up the yard. Bear follows. They run into the field and are gone. A soft wind like a belt of silk wraps the house. I follow them to the end of the field, where I hear the long-eared owl at wood's edge in one of the tall pines. All night the owl will sit there inventing his catty racket, except when he opens pale wings and drifts moth-like over the grass. I have seen both dogs look up as the bird floats by, and I suppose the field mouse hears it too, in the pebble of his tiny heart, though I hear nothing. Bear is small and white with a curly tail. He was meant to be idle and pretty, but learned instead to love the world and to romp roughly with the big dogs. The brotherliness of the two, Ben and Bear, increases with each year. They have their separate habits, their own favorite sleeping places. For example, Yet each worries without let-up if the other is missing. They both bark rapturously and in support of each other. They both sneeze to express pleasure and yawn in humorous admittance of embarrassment. In the car, when we are getting close to home and the smell of the ocean begins to surround them, they both sit bolt upright and hum. With what vigor and intention to please himself, the little white dog flings himself into every puddle on the muddy road. Some things are unchangeably wild, others are stolidly tame. The tiger is wild, and the coyote, and the owl. I am tame, you are tame. There are wild things that have been altered, but only into a semblance of tameness. It is no real change. But the dog lives in both worlds. Ben is devoted. He hates the door between us, is afraid of separation. But he had, for a number of years, a dog friend to whom he was also loyal. Every day they and a few others gathered into a noisy gang, and some of their games were bloody. Dog is docile and then forgets. Dog promises, then forgets. Voices call him. Wolf faces appear in dreams. He finds himself running over incredible lush or barren stretches of land, nothing any of us has ever seen. Deep in the dream, his paws twitch, his lip lifts. The dreaming dog leaps through the underbrush, enters the earth through a narrow tunnel, and is home. The dog wakes, and the disturbance in his eyes when you say his name is a recognizable cloud. How glad he is to see you, and he sneezes a little to tell you so. But the falling back, fading dream where he was almost there again, in the pure, rocky, weather-ruled beginning, where he was almost wild again and knew nothing else but that life, no other possibility. A world of trees and dogs and the white moon, the nest, the breast, the heartwarming milk. The thick-mantled ferocity at the end of the tunnel, known as Father, a warrior he himself would grow to be. Dog promises and then forgets, blame him not. The tooth glitters in the ridged mouth. The fur lifts along the spine. He lifts a leg and sprays a radiant mist over a stone or a dead toad or somebody's hat. He understands what is wanted and tries again and is good for a long time and then forgets.